Hi,
Hello.
can you tell me your name?
Okay, so my name's Anam. I was born in Nairobi, Kenya.
And what was life like in Kenya for you?
Yeah, life was great. Life was, as I remember it, it was very fun, just outdoorsy. When I was a child, we used to play outside with the kids and everything. That's how I remember it. Wildlife, no phones. So yeah, that's how I remember life in Kenya.
Your parents, are they from Kenya as well, originally?
Yes, so mum was born in Nakuru, and dad, I think he was born in Nairobi, yeah. So yeah, they've both been raised in Kenya, so they're pretty much the same, had this almost similar, similar childhoods. And then I was born there, so I kind of just, yeah, had that as well, just outdoorsy kind of thing, and it was great, yeah.
Can you tell me your earliest memories about school?
Yeah, so my earliest memories actually of school were in nursery when my mum actually used to dress me. It was not a uniform, so we were all wearing like home clothes as we used to call it. And I remember a picture of me actually with my hair right slicked back, really short, almost a boy cut, and in like a brown pinafore with white collars. That is actually my earliest memory, and I remember that because mum kept that picture really, really safe. So I think that is my earliest memory of school. And then it went on to primary school, where I remember that was a green uniform. Now it was into uniform stage, and still I had the boy cut, and that was how I used to be in primary school. And then after primary school, it was high school. Yeah, it was. But when I went to high school, so there's two systems in Kenya. So you do the Kenyan system and you do the G.C.S.E system. So that was like the British system. Primary school was all like Kenyan system, the 844 system as they call it.
What's the 844 system?
The 844 system is basically it's a Kenyan syllabus rather than the G.C.S.E syllabus. So you do your exams at year 8 and then you'd go into university after that. Yeah, straight away. So you wouldn't do like year 12, year 13. So I think when you were in year 8, how old would you be? Yeah, 4 years of secondary, and then I think you'd be about 17 when you finish, 18, and then you just go straight into university basically. Whereas the GCSE system is completely different. So you do your A levels, your O levels, your A levels, and then you go to university. So it was more fast track, but I think it was harder, definitely. Yeah.
Which one did you do?
Both. I did both, yeah. So I did the Kenyan system until year 5, and then I did year 6, year 7 GCSE system there, and then I moved to the UK.
Just going back to Kenya, what were your friends like at school?
Okay, so friends in my primary school, it was very, very mixed. So there was Asians, there was Africans, there was English. It was all very, very mixed, which I really enjoyed. I'm actually in contact with a lot of my friends from primary school still. In the school that was Kenyan system, I was basically the only light-skinned person there, basically. And the rest of them were Africans, natives and stuff. So never felt like I was the only one, because we all just very integrated anyway. But yeah, now reflecting back on it, I realized like, yeah, I was the only one there, and now everyone remembers me not because I was like that, but just because I think I must have had like a bigger personality and stuff like that, which is what my friends always tell me.
What did you do on your school holidays?
So school holidays were fun. They were really, really fun because my mum's brother actually, he lives in Masai Mara, which is a national park, and the other brother still lives in Nakuru, and he was like on a farm. So each and every half term we'd go to either one of the brothers' like houses and stuff. When we used to go to Masai Mara, it was very fun. Like it was outdoors again, every day we're in the swimming pool getting a tan all the time, jumping in the deep end even though you couldn't swim, but you'd try. And then when we used to go to Nakuru again, it was just like, because he was like taking care of the farm, so he'd go herd the cows, the cattle and stuff. So it was really nice. So I used to go with him. I remember really fond memories with my mom's eldest brother, like on a motorbike with him, and we'd go to the dip and let the cows through, and I was terrified of them, but I still enjoyed it because it was amazing to just see these animals just in their natural environment and just getting on with life, and I was trying to help him and I felt really involved in it, so it was really fun.
What was secondary school like?
Secondary school, so I didn't actually experience a lot of secondary school in Kenya because I came here when I was 12, but what I do remember for the year and a half that I was there was because I was already in the British system, it wasn't very different to here. So it was all like, maths, English, science, history, all the normal subjects. And yeah, so high school was, I want to say I experienced it, but I didn't. I feel like it was very, very short for me to have like too many memories of it. So I didn't have actually a high school experience there. It all started when I came to the UK. Yeah.
How far was Masai Mara from where you lived?
Right, so to get to Masai Mara used to be about 4 hours in the car, nice journey, stopping at viewpoints. But now, when I went last year, it was very long and it took almost the whole day because of traffic, more development on the roads were being built and all that kind of stuff. And there's just generally more transport available for people. Public transport has increased as well. So in that way, I think the travel distance to go anywhere now in Kenya, I think it's increased, definitely. Yeah.
Just going back to your childhood again, what kind of things did you used to do in your spare time?
Oh, in my spare time, that's a very good question actually, because I have got a lot of memories. So what I used to do in my spare time was loved going outside and playing. There was like a certain type of red mud that is very prominent in Africa. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just very, very red. And when you come back home, you'd be full of it. And I remember mum shouting at me because I'd be taking my slippers off, be walking, and we'd play marbles. So we'll make a hole inside the ground and we'd all go right to the bottom of the ground and do that with them. So we'd all trying to get it into that hole and getting everybody out, so then you're the first person to get it in that hole. That's definitely the game that we used to always play. And then there was another one where we'd put 7 stones in the middle. There was 4 teams of maybe 3 each, and we'd had to knock over all the stones, and if we'd knock them off, our team now would have to go and build them up without being hit by the ball. So that was the game we always played, and I'd always come home completely doused in like red mud, and mum would be like, right, shower time now, and homework, and then bed. So that was basically what I used to do all the time. It was fun. It was really, really fun.
What was your house like?
The dynamic was good because Dad he used to go to work, so I used to go to uni, Mum would go to work. So really in the daytime, there was no one at home. But when I used to come back from school, Mum would be home, Dad would be home, we'd sit down, we'd have like dinner. And yeah, it was great. It was great. And because we lived in a complex with all all my uncles, all my cousins, like we were really, really close anyway. So it was just basically family all around. So it was really, really fun. Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
What was the complex like?
Right. So the house that we used to live in, which we still live in now, you drive in. There's a long driveway. On your right hand side, there's massive field. On the left hand side as well, there's a massive field. And then you keep driving, and right at the front, you'd see a massive house, and it's like an apartment. There's apartments, but there's 4 houses. So 2 downstairs, 2 upstairs, stairs right in the middle, and 2 massive pillars at the front. So we lived top right house. And yeah, and then my cousins used to live in the rest of them, which were basically my dad's brothers. So all 3 of them lived like on one house, second house, third house. So yeah, and then 5 years into living in that house, Grandma used to live with Mataya, and then she decided she wanted to have her own little house. So then they had one small kind of house, 1-bedroom house Dad built for her in the same compound because it's so big, just her own little thing, so she'd have her independence with my granddad. So that's how it is, and it still is like that now. The only difference is granddad's not here, grandma is, and she now lives with my dad upstairs in the house, and that house has just become storage. That's it. Yeah.
What was your grandma like? What is your grandma like?
Oh, grandma, she's a very, very strong character, put it that way, and I think I get that from her like a lot. She's very cultured in the sense she knows about different cultures. She speaks different languages. So she speaks Punjabi, she speaks Gujarati, she speaks Maasai, Somali. So she speaks a lot of languages, and she's taught us a lot about life and how to always be independent no matter what you do in life, and always just to strive for the best, really. And even now in her old age, she's still doing that, whether it be through knitting, through sewing, through trying to like learn new things like baking in literally over the stove. So she does everything herself. She's over 80 now, 80 plus, and she still cooks for my dad to this day, so yeah, I think I've learned a lot from her, definitely.
What kind of things have you learned
from my grandma? Oh, actually a lot of things. When I went last year, there's it was Eid, and they all so now Eid over there is different, so they all slaughtered the goats in the morning in the compound right at the front gate, and we were cooking, and she says to me, she comes, I'll show you how to cook it. I said okay. And what it was the livers. She goes, I'm going to teach you how to cook this. And I was so squeamish. I was like, I really don't want to learn this. But she was like, no, you've got to learn because it's good for you. I said, okay. So that was actually what she taught me to learn. And actually, when I said I like cooking French toast and breakfast and all this, she actually taught me how to make French toast. And she makes it first on a low heat, and then increases the heat, and then like chars it at the end, and then she serves it with like honey. So that is basically my grandma's teachings to me. I want to learn how to knit, but we've not got there yet. Yeah.
What were your neighbours like in Kenya?
Very, very friendly, very friendly. Like all my neighbours went to the same primary school as me. So we'd all wake up in the morning, we'd all meet at the gate, we'd get the bus, or if we were walking, or someone was dropping us off, it was always one parent that would take all the kids with them, drop them off, and then pick everyone up and bring them back home. So yeah, that was like the kind of community spirit that I loved. And even to this day, like, because everyone still stays where they stay, it's the same. It's all that we're just grown up now, we've done different things in life, but we still do things together, like just going out for a coffee if it is, for lunch or something. And I try to go every year to keep these relationships in check, because it's unique to have a different country to call home, but also call home in the UK. So yeah, I like that. I think that's a really good privilege, shall I say. Yeah.
Your friends, are they from the same ethnic minority background?
No, most of them are not. Most of them are just Kenyans, and they're all from different tribes. Like Kenya has like 44 tribes, which the 45th or the 44th, one of them, I think, is African Asians, like Asian Africans. And that was actually, they recognized that as a tribe, because there's that many of us as a minority that they thought, actually, you're not a minority anymore, you are a majority, and we're going to integrate you into our cultural system, basically, and actually classify East African Asians as a tribe. So yeah, that was a good win for us as a community, yeah. So, but my friends are all different tribes and everything, so it's very multicultural, I'd say, yeah.
Just going back to Kenya, sorry, can you tell me a little bit about the food, the weather, the kind of clothes you used to wear?
Yeah, so food-wise, we still eat the same food, even here. I'm telling Mom always like cook ugali. It's like a corn flour, kind of maize flour, shall I say. You mix it with water, and you just keep cooking it over the stove until it gets like almost like a dough texture. That I used to eat there almost every week, on to be honest. There was a different porridge, like it's like a brown porridge. I can't remember what it was called, but it was some sort of wheat, and that was like really nice, which I haven't had here because I haven't found that, so I need to find that. Matoke again, which I think is amazing. It's just like green bananas, and you cook it in coconut milk and everything, and with bits of meat in. So yeah, that was the kind of food that we had. Mom still cooks it today, so I'm happy. I still get the food. So yeah. Clothing wise, anything. So jeans, t-shirts, tops. I mean, when we used to go to Mombasa, which was like the coast, you'd wear like anything that's like lighter. So you'd wear maxi dresses, or when we were kids, we'd wear shorts and everything. And yeah, very not. There's not a specific way to dress. It's just what you feel comfortable in is what works for you. Which I think even now when I go back, you're not pressured into wearing a certain type of clothing. It's just what you want to wear and what you feel comfortable in, and no one really says anything to you. So yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
How did you feel when at the age of 11 you was told you're going to give up everything that you know and move to UK?
At the time I didn't process it like that. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to UK. Wow, this is exciting. I didn't think, oh my God, I'm leaving everything behind. It was more like excitement to experience something new rather than sadness of leaving stuff behind. As I grew older, I thought, oh my God, I should have appreciated Kenya a lot more than I did. And not to say that I didn't, it's just I should have done it a bit more. But maybe that was because I was younger when I was there. Had I come to the UK now, I think I would have had more experiences there than here. But yeah, I didn't think of it like that at all. I was so happy to experience something new. And I'm really, really lucky to have to go there every year. So ever since 2012, I've gone back every year without fail. And yeah, I love it. I love going. So I'll go for like a month in the summer. So it's nice, except this year. So
what was your journey like the first time you sat on a plane to come to UK?
Okay, so I remember it from the airport. I said bye. That was the emotional bit, because I was leaving back my grandparents, who I love dearly. So my mom's mom and dad. I lived with them for 4 years. I loved it. It was incredible. And yeah, that was difficult, I think, because obviously they were in their old age. I was thinking, when am I going to see them again? And all these things are going through your mind at the time. But I got on the plane and it was all fine. Again, the excitement kicked in. I thought, oh yes, okay, we're starting something new. And then yeah, we got here, and that was it. Life began. That was it. Yeah.
How did you process the thoughts and feelings of you've just left the country that you lived in and now you're in a new country?
It took a while. It did take a while. I mean, I came here and I thought, oh, different roads, different way of, like, everything was different. Like traffic lights, I was like, oh my God, people actually stop at a red light. Just the little things just amazed me. Just everything, because we didn't have McDonald's and all this kind of things. And the first thing I said to Mum was like, oh my God, Mum, let's just go to McDonald's. Because you'd see it in like movies, and you'd see all this, westernized kind of culture, and you thought, oh my God, I really want to experience that. When I came, I thought, right, that's the first thing I'm going to do. And then, yeah, we came home, unpacked everything, and then that was the first night, basically. Went to bed, and yeah, that was it. Processed it like that. And then as the years went on, I thought, right, I need to find a way to make this feel like home. And I tried, and I got there in the end. Made new friends when I started school, and yeah, life just began like that. So,
what was your first day at school like for you?
So first day at school. So the difference with school here and there. Let's start over there. So over there, you'd go into school. You'd have a massive backpack with all your books full. Now, to give you some sort of idea, I woke up at 6 every day. 6 every day. Or even 5:30 some days if the bus was coming early. And I wasn't older. If you think I came here at 12, I must have been 7. Got up in the morning, had this massive rucksack with books full. I'd have to go. The housemaid would come with me, stand outside with me, wait for the bus. 7 o'clock approximately, bus would come. We'd go to school. First lesson would start, you open your books, the teacher's got, it's a massive whiteboard, not whiteboard actually, blackboard with chalk. So she'd split it into 3. She'd start writing from the first column, second column, third column, and you just have to write what she's writing in your exercise book. When she's done the third section, she's going to rub the first section, and if you're not done scribing, you will get told off. Like, why? What have you been doing? You should have been paying attention. You should have been talking, blah, blah. And I was really chatty as a child. So I'd always be the one that was stuck on the first, and I'd say to my friend, oh my God, can I copy? So whereas here, I came in, the first day of school, I had my exercise book, I took it out, I put it on the table, I got my pencil case out with everything, ruler, rubber, pen, everything. And the teacher said, okay, guys, I'm going to give you a worksheet. And I thought, oh, okay. I don't understand what's going on, but I'll go with it. So, yeah, and then there was a whiteboard with a projector, and I thought, oh, am I not copying anything? Why have I got an exercise book? No one had an exercise book. They must have known that there was a worksheet that day or something. And I felt really awkward. I was like, oh no, now everyone knows I'm different. But then as a child, you adapt quite quickly to your environment. So I'm sure the second day I just thought, you know what, right, exercise book is staying at home. I'll just take a pen in with me in my bag and my water bottle, and we just start the day like that and see how it goes, yeah? So that's different, very, very different.
How easy was it to make friends in your new school?
Here? Yes, it was hard and it was easy at the same time. Hard as in I didn't know how to express myself and which group of people to put myself in. So you'd have, and I don't think it's meant by any malice, like you'll have like the English people on one bit, you'll have the Pakistanis on one bit, you'll have the black people in one bit, and they all got along. It was just like they had their own little groups. And I thought, okay, where do I put myself? Yes, I am Pakistani, but I'm also Kenyan. And I've had white friends before, so where I was confused. That was the hard bit. The easy bit was talking to them, because I love talking to people. I don't mind making new friends. And even if you don't want to speak to me, I will make you speak to me. So yeah, that was the easy bit. The only hard bit I would say was I did not know where to place myself. In the end, we all just friends. We all just became friends, and it was fine. So yeah, that's my experience with friends here.
Did your friends ask you about your life in Kenya?
They did. They asked me very many questions about it. They asked me how school was actually. They asked me what life was like. And people who weren't my friends asked me some really weird questions. Some stuff like, did you live in a hut? How do you speak English? And all these kind of things. And I thought, rather than giving them a stupid answer, I'll give them an answer that's more, I'm going to educate you. And that was a kind of response I always gave. I said, well, we were part of the English colony, like the English colonized us. That was our first language is English. And they were like, oh, so do you speak it then? I said, yeah. You're taught in English and you learn Swahili. So you don't go in, you're not taught in Swahili and, no, you're not. You're taught in English and you learn Swahili. That's how it is. So I was like, yeah, it's my first language. Yeah.
And eventually, which cultural backgrounds did you end up making friends with?
Everyone. Here I made it with everyone. It wasn't, as I went through high school, that first day kind of was a blur to me, that everyone was in little groups. It just became, we're all friends, we're all going to the same school, we're all doing the same subjects. The best thing to do is just integrate. And it's what happened. Everyone was just friends, and it was great, because even now I don't have a certain type of people as my friends. It's just everyone, which I think is the best, because you learn so much from different people, their cultures and backgrounds, and not one of us is the same. Even if you are from the same country, there's going to be one experience that's different. So I think that's nice as well now. So I don't think anyone's to one side or anything. Everyone's just together.
How did you learn Swahili?
So Swahili, actually, it's interesting because I can't give you a definitive time that I actually learned it. I feel like because I was growing up around it and everyone was speaking it, you pick it up, you just do naturally. But in schools, because they teach you like proper grammar, it's like English. the way you speak it and the way you write it is very different, because you've got to think about the grammar, the punctuation and all this. Same with Swahili. So learning it was very, very difficult because there was different words for different things and all that. But speaking it was very, very easy. Even now when I go there with my friends, we don't speak English with my friends, actually. Yeah, we don't. We speak Swahili, because even texting them, when I text them on a daily basis, I text them in Swahili. So that's good for me, because I keep that language in check, and I keep, I don't think it's going to fade away now, to be honest, because I think it's hard ingrained in my brain now. So I don't think that's going to ever go away. Yeah.
And so you went to university?
Yes, I did. I studied biomedical science, University of Chester. It was great. It was great. I actually moved out from home, so that was fun, in the sense I got to see how I will live on my own and develop more as an adult rather than in a child's mentality. And it made me a better person, because I could do things myself independently. Obviously, I'd still call mum and ask her for advice, but I was able to make decisions on my own. I was able to learn how to cook, and for example, and just get my own routine going. So yeah, that was nice. So I've only just graduated in June. Well, graduation's not happened because of this pandemic, but I guess we'll have to see, and then hopefully do my masters when I can. So once all this is over, then that's where we're at. Yeah.
And the neighbourhood you lived in Nairobi, and the neighbourhood here, how would you compare the difference?
So the difference is, here I live in a detached house, like 4-bedroom house. That's different, because in Kenya we always lived in apartments, and apartments were more luxurious to living in a house at the time. So whereas here it's the opposite way. But yeah, that's the only difference really. Neighbours are friendly here. I mean, they were the same there. That's literally the only difference that there is the type of house that you're actually living in is what's different. But having friendly people around you, I don't think that's specific to any country. I think no matter where you go, you'll always find kind people, and it's just you've got to bump into them, and that's it. So yeah.
And you said you go every year. Is it something that, if you had the opportunity, would you go and live back?
Do you know what? I've thought about this question a lot, and I have two answers, which is yes and no. Yes, because I think the quality of life is just completely different in terms of the weather. It's always warm. You don't have your rainy days where you feel miserable. You don't want to leave the house. That's always there. And you don't work to pay bills. You work to enjoy your life as much there, which I think is amazing. So when I say quality of life, that's what I mean. And then education-wise, I think here is a lot better, because you have a lot of more... Like there, you have to pay for your school fees. Here, you don't. And I think that's one thing I really appreciate about this country, is that you have a lot of support from, like, the government, to say the least. You go to school and you don't have to think, I have to work, my parents have to work this hard to pay my school fees just so I can go and get an education. And that's why when I came here, I appreciated it more. And I thought, I'm going to work so hard to make my parents proud, because I think this is a brilliant opportunity that I've come here, and I just grabbed it, and I thought, yes, let's have it. And even with university, there you have to pay for it. Here you can take your loan out and pay in sections. So it is. I think here, I definitely think the education side of it is a lot better, and job prospect, because you can have no qualifications and still have a job, and you can have all qualifications and still have a job. So it doesn't matter. Over there, sometimes I think it's who you know, and it's hard. It's hard there for like young graduates, actually, specifically, because some of my cousins, they're graduates, and they've been graduates for 3 years now, and they're still looking for jobs. It's hard. It is hard. And I'm fortunate enough now that I've graduated, I can say, okay, I'll just grab an odd job and do that, and make a bit of money. And then once I finish my education, I can then decide, okay, I need to start a professional job, and then I can still get that because it'll be there for me. So that's the difference with the two countries. But I don't know. We'll have to do this interview again in 5 years and see where I'm at with that. Yeah.
And how do you cope with the changes of the weather in UK mentally?
Oh, right. At the start, it was very, very difficult. Well, I tell a lie. When I first saw snow the first time, I was very excited. I thought, oh, this is great. You know, making all the snow fairies, lining the snow and all this and that. And then as I grew older, I thought, oh my God, I'm just stuck at home now. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to make a snowman. I don't want to do snow angels anymore. What do I do? Don't want to go to Tesco. So you just sit at home and have some hot drink and just watch TV. I think that's what it is. And then the summertime, you're still complaining because it's too hot and you're sweaty and you're this and you're that. So you just get used to it. You just got to get used to it. Yeah. So I like it. I think I'm settled now, and I think this is home as well. As is Kenya, so I to both are home to me, to be honest. Yeah. Right. So when I was in Kenya, actually, my mum's sister, so my khala, she's got two daughters, and I did everything with them. I remember I was so young, and I remember them like always stealing my milk when I was little, and I never used to want to drink my milk, so they'd drink it for me, you know, and all this. And I remember that. And then at one point, they lived with my nana and nanny, and I always used to go over, and my mum would come and pick me back up, and I'd literally stand at the veranda door and hold it so tight, and I'd scream, Khala, don't let me go home, and I'd love it. And obviously, like, they were like siblings to me, to be honest. We did everything together, holidays together, everything. You know, on weekends, my mum would just be like, okay, Khala's house today. And I'm like, yeah, I don't mind, I'm fine. You know, so they're like siblings to me. And it is nice because even now, we're only 4 years apart. So when I was younger, the age gap seemed massive. Now it's very, very small. So talk to them about anything and everything. So it was good. It was really, really fun. And Mahala is like my second mum. I can vouch for that, because my mum, when I was ill, I remember really, really vividly, actually, I used to get really bad temperatures when I was young, and I'd hallucinate a lot. And when I'd hallucinate, I'd talk really weird things. I'd say, I can see this, I can see that. And my mum used to be so scared, and she didn't know what to do. And what she'd do is she'd literally put me in the car, and it was Khala's house. That's it. And my Khala would laugh at her and say to her, what are you doing? She's your child, you need to look after her. And mum would go, I don't know, she's talking rubbish and all this. And I'm thinking, oh my God. So I remember my Khala being there for me at the toughest of times when I was a child. So she's basically like my second mum. And I think our family is a strong matriarchal family, shall I say, because I think the women, they do a lot. The men will sit there, they'll say, oh yeah. They play an important role, but I think the women are more independent, they're more stronger. And I think I get that a lot from just even my mum. Like, you know, for her to leave everything for hers. I mean, I was only 12 when I came, but mum was like in a literally adult years. So it's hard. It was harder for her, I presume. For me, it was easier. I was younger. I could adapt quicker. For mum, it was difficult because she'd lived practically all her life in Kenya and then came here to start fresh completely with basically no family, all her brothers and sisters back home. Whereas for me, I was like, right, I've got this opportunity. Let me just make the most of it while I'm here. So yeah, and then at some point, was it in 2014, I think I want to say, my cousin actually, so one of the girls, she came to study here for university, and she lived with us for 4 years because that was how long her degree was. And it was just like again when I was a kid, it was the same. I felt, oh my God, I've got my sibling back basically, and it was nice. And when she was leaving, she loved cooking, so there was always food in this house, always. Now we're just like, oh, we don't know what to cook, so we just leave it. We'll have some tea or something, you know. But with her, it was like she loved cooking. We'd cook together. She taught me a lot, and yeah, I look at her like basically an elder sister. And when she left, I remember, and I said to her, why don't you stay? She called Nazia. I said, Nazia, why don't you stay? Why don't you stay? And she said, if I had the opportunity, I would. I don't at the moment, but I'll be back soon. And I said, yeah, that's fine. And now it's been, 5 years, and I'm still waiting for her to come back. But I speak to her every day on, we have WhatsApp now, we have FaceTime, of all these kind of things. And I still prompt her. I'm like, come on, do something, come back. So yeah, it's nice. It's bittersweet, should I say, because it was nice having her here for that long, and then her going back, it's like, oh my God, I want you to come back. But she's obviously got to go back to her family and stuff. So yeah, it's a bittersweet moment, I think. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Do you think it was the right decision that your mum made moving to UK?
I do. I think now that's a selfish question. That's a selfish answer, because I think it was the best thing for me. For her, maybe not so much, because again, like, she's lived her whole life there. But I think she did it for me, and I appreciate that to this day, because she's the person I am is because of her. She's taught me everything in life. How to talk to people, how to respond to people, how to respect people, everything, just how to embrace anyone and from any walk of life. I owe it to my mum for that. So I think for me personally, I'd say it's the best thing she did for me, and I'm gonna stick with that answer, I think, and stick to being selfish. I think that's the best thing. Yeah.
What would you call yourself now?
Now I still say I'm East African Asian. No matter what, all the forms, they'll be like other. I'll click other, and it says state your nationality, and I'll say East African Asian. Even though I have a British passport, I still stick with that. And I say that because I think it's important for people to know that Asians are not just from Asia. You can be from anywhere. And I think not even Asians, anyone can be from anywhere these days. And not because you live in England, and if you're born here, you are allowed to say that you're English. You shouldn't be asked, well, your skin colour and this and that. And that's why when someone asks me, what are you? I'll always stick with East African Asian, because I think it's a unique thing, and I don't think a lot of people can say that. And it also brings up conversation, and you educate people like that, and you tell them, oh yeah, so what does that mean? And then you explain to them that, all our ancestors and all our, the older generation, they came because they wanted a better life, so they came to Africa. And you'd question that, and you think, oh, you want a better life in Africa? And you start questioning that. And yeah, Africa is great, and you need to realize that that was a place that it was the best place for them at the time. They wanted to go there, and they wanted to make a life for themselves, and we're the product of that. So we need to embrace that and show that it was the right decision, and we're still going to stick with that. We're going to go with it, and for the future generations, we're still going to explain to them that this is what has happened. And don't feel like you're not from there, even though you weren't born there, because your family and your grandparents, your great-grandparents, ones that are before that and before that, they made that move for a reason, and you should just stick with it and just go with it. Just honestly, it's the best thing. It's nice to have something different about yourself and something unique about yourself, because it always brings up good conversation. I've never had anything negative, and I think it's important to understand that nowadays. Embrace who you are. Just embrace it. It doesn't matter what you are, who you are, where you're from. It's okay. It's okay to be you, is what I'd say to that, actually, yeah.
What would you like to achieve in the future?
Career-wise, I want to give back to my community back in Kenya, and I've said that because I find that, especially women, in areas where there's no electricity, no water, it's difficult for them. In ways where I think it's easy for us to understand, because we're all humans, and we understand that some of these women, they just don't have the right facilities for themselves. And I think what I'd want to do is go and give back to them and say, look, you're not alone, because the mentality, even still, some of them, the women just sit at home. You're supposed to cook, and these not the ones that live in the city, it's the ones that still live in the rural areas, let's say. They're still back in their ways, and I think education again is very important. You need to teach them that it's okay not to want 10 kids, and and I think that's what I want to do. So educate the younger generation over there in these rural areas, and say you can keep your culture, but you can model it to the modern world. You can go and you're allowed to just have your 2 kids and go to work and come back and still live your culture, like have all the food that you need to have and wear the same clothes that you have to have, but develop with time, I think. And I think that's what I want to do future-wise. And even healthcare, I think healthcare is another thing that's really, really important for people there, just going back and helping them with like sanitary stuff, clean water. That's the kind of thing I want to implement. And my dad grew up in Kajiado, which is a Maasai county, and those are the kind of people I want to help, because Maasais are very, very native and they've been there for years. So they actually are the community that need the most education, because they're still stuck in the way, which is not bad to be stuck in your ways, but it's becoming more and more difficult as time is moving on for them, because now they're becoming a minority in their own country when it shouldn't be like that. So if they can just model themselves to become part of the greater community, then they'll be fine, and they can still do all the things that they do as a culture. So that's what I want to do. Yeah.
To want to do something like that, did you have the opportunity to go to the rural areas?
I did, yes, I did. Last year, again, going back to my trip to Kenya, I went for 2 months. This is why I have loads of experiences. I went volunteering with Nazia, my cousin, in Nakuru for an NGO, and they basically had like a clinic, a community clinic, and it was like mobile nurses going into these areas and helping like women have like implants on their arm for like pregnant control and all that kind of thing. And it was interesting to see, because people were receiving that quite well. You'd think that, oh my God, they'd be really afraid, which they were, because they thought, oh my God, this is new. But because they knew someone was helping them, it was nice. And I think that opened my eyes to a lot. And I said, I've got a lot to offer. I might not think I have a lot to offer in the world, but I think I do. And in the sense that I could go and help all these people and make them live better lives, more comfortable lives. And, just seeing how fortunate I am, just going to Tesco and buying a meal or something and thinking, oh yeah, it's fine. If it's expired, I'll chuck it in the bin. I'm thinking, these people have to farm the whole day and work the whole day just to buy a loaf of bread. And it's like, if I could be that person that could impact them and just give them maybe a packet of rice so they don't have to eat the bread for one day, I think that's a big change for them, and they'd appreciate that. And they're very appreciative. They said thank you for everything that we did. I mean, we went to schools and we taught like young kids about just life and life skills and everything, and and they loved it. They loved it. And if I have the opportunity again, I will go back. I will go and volunteer again. I think it's a great opportunity. And anyone that is my age, I think they should do that, just to see how other people live and then see how it affects your beliefs and if it changes it for the greater good. So, yeah.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
In my spare time now, I actually have got into reading. I was never a child that read books, but I've got into reading because of everything that's going on in the world. I think it's very important to educate ourselves again. And I'm reading a lot about history of slavery at the moment and all that kind of stuff, just to make myself more aware about the struggles that people went through and reflect back and think, okay, I'm not going through that much of a bad time. I'm all right, because people go through worse things. So yeah, and I think that's important to understand, especially now with this pandemic and everything. There's so many bigger things happening in life that you've got to sit down and you've got to reflect. Actually, I'm not having that bad of a time. There's people that literally cannot see their family, and I'm living with my family. I've got to understand that that's a privilege right now. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Actually, reading a book. Actually at the moment I'm reading a book about Obama and his life. And his family is in Kenya. His father's side. He's one of the tribes in Kenya. His father was from, and yeah, he talks about his life in Kenya. So I'm getting myself into that book now, so yeah.
What would you like to say to the listeners to remember this interview by?
I think they need to remember that it doesn't matter where you're from, you're all the same. We've all got red blood in our veins, we're all the same. It doesn't matter how somebody looks or dresses, or we're here for a purpose in life, and Islamically we have an afterlife. So we've got to do everything in this life and remember that there's something bigger for us. So be humble. is what I'd say. And remember your roots, because they will always come. They show what you are as a person. I think it's very important, and that's something, again, going back to learning lessons. My granddad taught me, my mum's dad, and he always said, remember where you come from, remember your roots, learn your language. Don't think it's embarrassing to learn your language, or it's embarrassing to speak your language, or someone's going to judge you for how you're pronouncing some word. At least you're trying, and always remember that that's who you are. Embrace it. And I think I'm still young, but I think if I ever have kids, I think I'm going to instill that into them, and say, I'll show you where I'm from, and then your father, whoever that may be, he'll show you where he's from, and then you need to understand that that's you. You are that person, and embrace it with everything that you've got, and just live life like that. I say, with humbleness and respect for everyone. Yeah, that's what I'd say, for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.